Hello, my name is Brian Bowens. It's been almost 25 years since me and my mother Carol agreed to do this interview for 2020, but sadly enough, the topic is still extremely relevant to our community to this very day. But here's a little background. I believe this episode of 2020 was not only nominated but won an Emmy. But more importantly, it has been used extensively as a training tool not only in higher education but also in law enforcement around the world to this very day. I hope you enjoy this blast from the past.
2020. Tonight, a revealing undercover investigation. Are black men being singled out by police? Pulled over, even when they're doing nothing wrong.
No matter how many degrees I get, no matter how many medical schools I go to, it'll always happen.
They can be future doctors and Olympic stars, but many police still see them as suspects, drug dealers. They weren't in our case. 2020 rented expensive cars and put our own staffers, black and white, behind the wheel. The difference will disturb you.
How you doing?
Officer?
One group was stopped, questioned, harassed time after time. Lynch's investigation lets you see for yourself. Young black men are often presumed guilty. Those stories tonight, November 6th, 1992, after this brief message.
How do you react when you're on the road and you spot a police car? Most people get a knot in their stomach. Am I doing something wrong? Then a quick glance at the speedometer, and usually you're okay. But what if you're obeying the law and you're still pulled over? And what if that happened to you over and over again?
Well, many African Americans say that scenario is a way of life for them, and that the Rodney King case finally made that clear. And just last night in Detroit, a black motorist died after a police beating. Tonight, a 2020 hidden camera investigation. Do police single out black drivers? Lynn Shure went to Los Angeles to look for answers.
The protest that exploded after the Rodney King verdict last spring was not just from minorities. Many in Los Angeles, indeed many across the country, took up the cause.
It's not a black thing! It's not a black thing! No, it's not a black thing!
It's been a black thing for the last 300 years!
But for all the expressions of outrage, for all the offers of sympathy, many of those who live here in South Central Los Angeles said you simply could not appreciate what happened to Rodney King unless you were black yourself. They said the hostility that erupted into the riots was rooted in the years of injustice they say they've suffered at the hands of police. And so we wondered, what is it really like to be black and male and behind the wheel in this part of America? To find out, an all-black 2020 crew spent 2 weeks driving around the Los Angeles area. Without telling local cops what we were doing, we had a hidden camera mounted in one car with a second camera crew following behind. Our conclusion? While only 12% of Los Angeles is black, the overwhelming majority of people we saw pulled over by police were black and male. Example 1, the driver of this blue truck. Casey Stewart told us he gets stopped an average of once a month for what officers tell him is a minor violation. He says he's checked out, rarely if ever ticketed, and then let go. That's what happened the day we taped him.
I'm 32 years old. I've been driving since I was 14. Being stopped is something that's part of life out there. That's life.
2 members of the Los Angeles Police Department say what we observed was not unusual. Officer Janine Bowie said she worked with one particularly zealous white male officer who targeted black men.
There was no probable cause on his part. He would look for things sometimes, oh, this guy doesn't have a front license plate. Let's pull him over and see what we can find.
Bowie and Detective Bill Pavlik say there are some officers who, when they can't find reasons to pull over black men, make them up.
There's always going to be an excuse, the reason you stop them. If they're driving a car, they're going to tell you went over a double line, or you were swerving, or you didn't put the left-hand signal.
Example number 2, our hidden camera crew. Beverly Hills police officers pulled them over for something our driver insists he did not do. The police officers looked at his rental contract for a couple of minutes and let them go without ticketing them. The Beverly Hills Police Department, who refused an interview, said there was nothing inappropriate about the stop. But the man who now runs the second largest police department in the nation, Los Angeles Police Department Chief Willie Williams, was remarkably candid about a situation he has been hired to change. From your experience, do you believe that black men are unduly harassed by police officers?
I think that African American males and other minority males are more prone to be stopped for small or frivolous reasons than non-African American males, in not just big cities like Los Angeles and Philadelphia, but small suburban and rural and country towns. Statistically, it is a fact.
That is the reality we documented over and over during our drives around Los Angeles.
I need the DMC file.
Among the many examples we found, Brian Bowens, a 20-year-old pre-med student who spends his summers working at his mother's company. Brian gave me a sense of how it feels to be victimized, how it hurts to be singled out so regularly. This is a young man who just loves driving his Jeep Cherokee, but who told me what takes the joy out of driving is the police. He is painfully aware that they may pull him over at any given time for no reason.
It's dehumanizing in a way. It really saps your manhood. When you're pulled over, you're just helpless. You're a victim.
How often do you get pulled over?
I would say, if I drive regularly throughout LA, which I do, twice a month.
Friday, 9:39 a.m.
Police Watch is a Los Angeles-based organization that records complaints of police misconduct and advises individuals what they can do about it.
Get in touch with me as soon as possible. Thank you.
They get about 300 complaints a week, mostly from blacks and other minorities. Director Carol Heppy.
There's a lot of racist police officers out there, and for whatever reason that motivates people like that, they will stop somebody. If they're driving in a nice car, they may stop them because they are assuming that the car is stolen or that the person is somehow involved with some kind of drugs.
That is another major complaint we heard, that young black men with a certain look and in certain cars are prime targets.
I'm 6'5.5". I'm dark skinned. I'm black. You know, if I have dark glasses on, a baseball cap, it fits a profile. Why not be afraid? That's what white America says, right? But if I'm a white guy driving around in a Benz, talking on the car phone, listening to loud music, he goes on. Oh, what a businessman, executive, movie star, whatever. When I'm doing it, drug dealer.
Brian says he responds politely to the series of questions he's come to expect when he's pulled over for the alleged traffic violations. Still, he finds it frustrating.
I hate the first or second thing that they say when they come up to my window is, whose car is this? Like, I couldn't have got this car myself. Obviously, it was given to me or it was stolen.
Sure enough, that is exactly what happened to our camera and sound man as they drove around Los Angeles in a Porsche. Listen to the first question asked by the officer from the sheriff's department.
How you doing?
How you doing, officer? Is this your car?
Yeah.
Talking to you.
Yeah.
Is that the appropriate first question when you stop someone?
Absolutely not. That question takes away your dignity as a man. When you stop someone, as long as it's for a traffic violation or non-felony car stop, you explain to them why you stopped them.
Carol Heppy says questions without reasonable suspicion are typical and are civil rights violations, but often the harassment doesn't end there.
But often these men are asked to exit their car. They are asked to lie on the pavement. Their legs are spread. Their hands are cuffed behind their back. It is routine that black men's cars, the trunks are searched.
In fairness, police officers can use such precautionary measures at their discretion if they have reasonable suspicion, suspect potential danger, or are provoked. But we watched while these four young men were handcuffed and questioned for more than 20 minutes while their vehicle was searched twice. They were released without being ticketed, and the LAPD has no record of why they were stopped. And in the neighboring community of El Segundo, a mostly white area, the local police stopped this man, Yusef Hill, and several other blacks as they were leaving a black nightclub. According to the El Segundo Police Department, Hill had a broken taillight and didn't have his license with him. So they proceeded to search for weapons, but they let him go without a ticket. Hill told us the police never asked for his driver's license and never even checked if he was drunk.
No, they didn't give me no kind of tests, no nothing. They just stopped me and was One look in the car, flashed the light, and asked me to open the trunk, and then told me to have a good night.
That is another aspect of the problem for many black men, that they are often stopped just for being in white neighborhoods. LAPD Chief Williams says that's not reason enough.
You don't ask somebody, why are you in a neighborhood, unless you're specifically investigating them as a result of a complaint of a burglary, assault, similar type, call it car, vehicle, something that would be legitimate in any neighborhood.
But apparently, not all cops follow those rules. Watch what happened to our undercover camera crew as they sat in a parking lot outside a restaurant waiting to link up with the rest of our entourage. It was 3:30 in the morning. The restaurant, a Jack in the Box, was closed to walk-ins but open for drive-through. An officer from the local Hawthorne Police Department, another LA suburb, approached them.
What were we all doing tonight?
Just
What would possess you to come down here anyway?
what's wrong with coming down here?
What's that?
What's wrong with coming down here?
Nothing, but isn't there other things to do in Culver City and North Hollywood?
Why should I want to stay in Culver City? Can't I go anywhere in the country?
You sure can.
I mean, I almost feel like you don't want me down in this neighborhood.
The only thing is this is not exactly the best place to be.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Because we have shootings.
They got shootings all over the country.
You know, all that shit about, all over the country. I'm talking right here. We have at least 6 or 7 on a Saturday night. People die out here. We stop and talk to people because we feel like stop and talk to you. It's 3:30 in the morning, and other officers say you're driving up and down the street. That's suspicious. That's enough probable cause.
We were sitting in the lot right here.
Right. Okay. Jack in the Box, is it open?
Yeah. We're over here having something from the store right here. It's open.
That's fine.
I got a Coke right here, potato chips. We're just relaxing.
Fine.
Do we look suspicious?
I didn't say you look suspicious, but other people say you look suspicious.
What other people? I just
here, maybe there.
Yeah. Was it because we're black?
That stuff,
I don't see anybody else getting stopped but black people out here. Everybody coming out of the club up the street.
The cops later told us there had been no complaints from the neighborhood. This scene at the Jack in the Box was especially revealing to Brian, the pre-med student who was in the car with our crew that night.
This is going to happen to me for the rest of my life. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's really sad. It's really sad, but it's true. In my lifetime, I've already accepted in my lifetime, I'm sure no matter how many degrees I get, no matter how many medical schools I go to, it'll always happen.
Brian's mother, Carol Jones, shares his sadness and anger at a system that says her children are criminals.
They don't have to be doing anything but being who they are, and that's young black men with a rhythm in their walk and an attitude about who they are and expressing their pride and their culture by the clothes that they choose to wear. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're gang members.
It even happens to American heroes. In 1984, Al Joyner was one of our brightest Olympic stars, a gold medal for the triple jump. Today, Al Joyner refuses to drive the streets of Los Angeles for fear of the police. On May 8th, 1 week after the riots, Joyner says he had one of the most harrowing experiences of his life. He was stopped by the LAPD, apparently because they thought he was driving a stolen car.
He said, put your right hand behind your head, your left hand behind your head. Walk toward my voice. And I kept on saying, dang, what I'm doing. What's happening? And at this time, I noticed about 5 or 6 police cars out there, and all of them in their gun position with their guns out on me.
5 or 6 police cars?
Yeah, and I said, do everything slow. I said, do everything slow, because I didn't want to be a mistake.
Joyner says he was instructed to get on his knees while they checked his license plate. When they found out the car was registered to his wife, Olympic track star Florence Griffith Joyner, they realized they'd made a mistake and let him go.
And then 2 blocks after that, not even 5 minutes elapsed, the same group of police officers pulled me over again. And at that time, I jumped out of my car and said, what's the problem now? And they said, you a suspect, you as a suspect in a hit and run. A burgundy RX-7, a black male with a baseball cap. I didn't have a RX-7, but I am black with a baseball cap.
What does this make you feel about the cops here in L.A.?
I felt violated because when I was there, I felt like I was raped.
You've stopped driving completely?
In L.A., I refused to drive in L.A. If I would have slipped coming out that car, they would have probable cause to shoot me.
I understand what Al Joyner has said. My son at 19 was driving my 7-year-old Lincoln in Philadelphia, was stopped 3 times in a 7-hour period.
For what?
Because he was a young man in a nice-looking car.
And he was black.
And he was black, and his dad was a police captain at the time. And Dad followed up to see what the reasons were. No traffic tickets, so I'm a realist.
Remember what happened to our crew at the Jack in the Box? Well, when we confronted the officers and the Hawthorne Police Department, they said they were just following proper police procedure, and they insist the incident was not racially motivated.
It's not an issue. It's not an issue of a black and white thing.
I think it is.
That's old.
It's not old.
Yeah, because if there was 4 white guys here, we'd stop them too.
I think it's an issue of...
How would they deal with 4 white guys? We decided to test the Hawthorne Police Department on their own terms. So 3 weeks later, at exactly the same time, 3:30 in the morning, we sent another 2020 crew back to the same spot in the Jack in the Box parking lot. This time, they were 4 white guys. They drove the same make car, followed the same route, drove past the same nightclub, and rode up and down the street 3 times, just like our black crew. But this time, the white guys counted off the number of police cars that drove right by them in the hour and a half they were there.
Okay. Cop number 1 right next to it. Cop number 1 just drove by. He didn't even say cop number 5, guys. That was, yeah. Okay, cop number 5. Cop number 9 just drove right by us.
This time, the white guys sat parked in the Jack in the Box lot for more than an hour. Although they waited patiently, nothing happened.
Cop number 16 just drove right by us, saw us sitting here in Jack in the Box, and hung a left turn and never came back.
Lynn, in the Los Angeles Department effort to end racism in its ranks, what will happen to officers who are proved to be racist?
Well, Willie Williams, the police chief, told us that indeed, if he finds out that there is that kind of racism, and he makes the point that it's all right to use caution, it's all right to make sure you're safe, but you can't abuse that. So he says if he finds that there is racism, he will simply let these people go. They will be fired. He says, by the way, he'd like to retrain, he'd like to re-educate, but he thinks it may take up to 2 years because the stereotypes are so ingrained.
What's happening with Al Joyner now?
He's filed a lawsuit against the LAPD. We talked to them. They didn't want to comment on it because it's in litigation now. And the police league, the protective league, also chose not to comment.
And of course, this is not happening only in Los Angeles.
Not according to our reporting, Hugh. We focused on Los Angeles. But in fact, this is a problem all across the country in major metropolitan areas.
Thank you, Lynn.
Well, when we come back, the name of his theme song was Crazy. Ross Perot. Were you crazy to vote for him? And what will Ross Perot do now? Our exclusive interview with Ross Perot, the first he's done since the election, coming up right after this.